go with free software. And I said, the very day that every single customer stands up and says, I will not buy any more of your software until you make it free and open. And if they're smart, and they are smart, they'll have to go.
Wow.
I don't think it's a matter of branding. I really don't. I do think that there's a matter of marketing money. So, for example, every time you buy a Microsoft product, a certain portion of that money that you pay for it goes to marketing to you. So that even though you've bought the product, Microsoft is going to spend even more money marketing back to have you buy even more. In the free software space, we don't generate that type of money, and there isn't as much money to do that type of marketing. So we have to rely more on marketing of word of mouth and people saying, hey, look, this is really good, why don't you try it out? But it seems to be working, so we are winning. 80% of all the supercomputers in the world today uses Linux. Linux is the most used operating system in embedded systems. And Linux is used on 1/3 of all the server systems in the world. So in reality, the last thing we have to do is a desktop. And we're winning there too. And Microsoft is scared.
Yes,
Notice
sir.
they stopped saying it's ridiculous, and now they're saying this is our enemy. Just didn't Gandhi say something about that? That, first they laugh at you, and then they, and then after a while they realize that you're the enemy, and then they fight you, and then you win.
Time only knows.
Microsoft actually in IIT Bombay, Microsoft is distributing all its operating systems and softwares for free.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And so this is an argument I get from people. They say, we pirate Microsoft software anyway, so it's free for us. Why should we use Linux? The thing is, it is not the cost of the operating system. It is not the cost of the software that's important. It's the value of the software. So let me give you a story to illustrate this. I go to the store. I get a CD. I pay 5 rupees for the CD. I take it home. I put it on my computer system. It takes me an hour to install it. I start to use it. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't even start up. The cost of that, or the value of that software, is 0. On the other hand, I go to the store, I buy another CD. I pay 5 rupees for it. I take it home, an hour to install. I start the software up. Immediately, my dog can let itself in and out of the house without me helping it. My spouse comes home, kisses me on the cheek, goes into the kitchen, makes me a wonderful dinner, comes back out, takes me upstairs, we make love the entire night. Believe me, at 57, that alone is a miracle. My children come home from school, they have straight A's. And the income tax collector calls me up and says, there was a mistake on your income tax and we owe you 200,000 rupees. I say to you that the software, and all of this is because of the software on that CD. The software on that CD is infinitely valuable to me, and I don't care what I paid for it. Now, obviously, total cost of ownership is important, because if you can't afford the CD in the first place, or the software in the first place, you won't have it. But after that, you should be looking at the value of the software. What does it allow you to do? Does it allow you to work your business better? Can you expand it? Can you change it to meet your needs? Do you have to wait for 6 months or 8 months or a year for a fix that is stopping you from moving forward? Does it mean that you can't put it on a processor which is lower power and lower heat, or a faster processor? All these things are questions. And if the software does not allow you to do that, or if the software does not allow you to use the printer that you have, or is it in your language? All these things decrease the value of the software to you.
What can we do to increase the value of the open source in the layman people, like the common people which are not programming experts, or say the technical people?
Well, the first thing is you can introduce them to it, right? You can sit down with some people and say, look, try this out, look at it. Here's a CD that it's a live CD. You don't even have to install it in your system. Just try it out to see what it's like. You can say here, you can put together a list of places that they can go to find information on the net. We used to put together, my lug used to put together a thing we called the new users floppy disk. That's how long ago this was. Floppy disk with pointers to all the places on the net where people could get information about how to use the software. Give them the Open CD so that they can still continue to use their Windows software, but instead they can use Firefox instead of Internet Explorer and Thunderbird for reading their mail. And then they get used to the fact that free software is good, and then they're willing to make the jump. And then what you have to do is you have to talk with your legislators, your government. And I don't mean shout at them or anything like that, but sit down with them and talk with them about real issues. For example, today you may be getting free software from Microsoft. But let's face it, they're a company. They have to make money sometime. They're going to have to make money. Where are they going to make the money from? It's going to be from you. There's no secret to this, right? But your legislators are busy. You have to help them think about these things. Help them think about this. What happens when a company, like any company, Hewlett-Packard or Oracle, they decide that a product is no longer useful and they're going to retire that product? Well, that's the product you're using. What can you do? Well, you have to migrate to whatever they tell you to migrate. With free software, you can make the business decision to stay with that software as long as you want. And that allows you to make the business decision about when and if you're going to migrate. I say that free software gives back the business person control of their business. Without it, they are at the mercy of the people that make their software. And therefore, they are software slaves. Freedom is one of these things that's hard for people to grasp. What is freedom? People have a hard time understanding freedom, but they don't have a hard time understanding slavery. When you're a slave, you're told where to go, what to do, who to marry. Your kids are taken away from you. You have no freedom. And when you use proprietary software, you're told this is when you're going to get your patch. This is when you have to migrate. We're going to a new release. You better go now because we're using XP. But then where do you get your security patches from? Or the things that protect you from viruses. With free software, you can make the business decision to continue supporting that as long as you want. And if there's enough of people using it, they can band together to do that support.